Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. Today I want to share with you a concept that I had and I've recently used it on our server. Allow me to just change the time. There we go. So this concept is something for a rail, like an automatic return system for the cart, and it's not necessarily just for that, but that's the reason that I wanted it. So if I show you this is a vertical version of it. It does actually have to go out one because of this torch, but then this is the one that's in the ground, and this one is quite simply just 3 blocks, well 4 with the one that's being powered. So if we put that there, so the thing that this works is if you put something in there, it detects it and shoots it out. And that's really cool because we can do things like this, where we could have something along the lines of this, and we could have some hoppers going in to this dispenser, and then as soon as the dispenser gets, in there, it automatically puts the cart on the track. Okay, sorry about that cut then, I had to do something. So I've shown you the concept of it, whereby something enters, and this is only really going to work for minecarts because you would only, like, for example, let me just show you. If you had, I don't know, a big cooking system where you get loads of stone and then you wanted to stand in a place to receive it, this is only going to work for one item, so it's going to shoot one out and then it's going to be in the on state forever. So don't think that this is going to work for that, but I will show you the system that it's supposed to work for. So say you're in the nether and you've got, ideally you'd have a nether portal there going to one of your strongholds, which would have the end portal there. Let me just close this up a second, just so I can show you. I'm not going to close this one just because I've had some issues when you close the one with the hoppers on. So what you would do is you would have this and say it's about 80 blocks, and I'll give you, well no, I'll give you the talk now. Basically the end point, like your nether portal or whatever the destination is, needs to be in loaded chunks. All of the, like, when you are here, the end point needs to be loaded. If it's like 5,000 blocks away, this is not going to work. I'm sorry to tell you, but it will not. So it's only for when it's in loaded chunks. So as we can see, that's clearly in loaded chunks, and if it was all the way over there, it would be in loaded chunks. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, otherwise it's just going to get stuck halfway through. So you go down here, you would be in game mode 0, and then you come off here and then you wait there and you break your minecart basically, and it gets automatically put into that thing, and then if we go over here, it's there for you when you come back. So the way that this works is, I'll go back into game mode 1. So this minecart comes all the way along here, then it gets put into this hopper, and if we have a little closer look here, oh dear. So what we've got a duplicated line. You could potentially have it going onto this line, but personally I just think it's easier to have another hidden one. That might change depending on how long the line is. So what we've got is, we've got 3 hoppers, and I suggest having 3 hoppers because this middle one here is going to be the one that you're going to, if I just destroy him, this is going to be the one that's going to take the reading. That wasn't, it needs to go in this one first, and then, because if you only have 2, like you just saw, as soon as it goes in here it gets taken out and it doesn't get read. So if you were reading it from this one, it doesn't get read, so you need some sort of middle man, if you will. So as you can see, every single time something goes in, or if I actually can get it in, it will read it and it will tell it the cart to go. Here we go, there you go, and that would work for every single time. All we've got here is a comparator, which compares an inventory of it compares how much is in an inventory, and if there is something in an inventory, it'll give a redstone signal. Because there's only ever going to be 1 in there, is going to give quite a weak signal, so we've got it going into a block here, and then this block is now powered, so it takes it from here, this redstone does, and then the repeater just gives it a little bit of a length. I would set it to 4 because it gives it time for it to get put into the minecart hopper. Otherwise, what you'll notice is this goes before it's had time to get down to this hopper and get put into the actual minecart. So that's really simple. So I'll just show you how to build that first, and then I'll go into building this. Okay, so let's start with the vertical one. The vertical one's really simple, and I'll go into game mode 0 for that. So you'd put your hopper where, dropper, dispenser even, wherever you want it, and then you would, out of which, any side that you want basically. It could even be out of this side, out of the side that it's going to shoot out of, however that wouldn't be very practical. So you have that, and then you have it going into a block, and then that goes into, basically what this is doing now is this is saying I have got something inside of me, you are now on. So because it powers the block, it powers the redstone, and then you want to hold shift and place it on top of the comparator, and then put it into this, onto the side, so you can then put a block on top. And what this is going to do is, because this isn't pointing in any direction, it's actually pointing in every direction. So if we do that, it'll turn it off because it's in actual fact pointing into this block even though it isn't. So then you want to go and put one on top of that. Then you want that, and I actually need one more block. So I thought I counted out, but I clearly didn't. So there you go, you just want to hold shift and then jump and put it on top of there, and there you're done. That is it. And you can you can choose whatever block you want for this. It doesn't have to be this. However, you can't use a half slab like a top one because it needs to power the bottom block. So if I can get something now, and I will show you that it will put it out. Cart. Now if there's no track here or something, it will just spit out as a block. As an item. However, if you do have your stuff here, you will in actual fact get it there. Oh dear, I thought that was going to explode then. So yeah, you would have all of these. There you go. That looks so strange, doesn't it? So the one that points upwards is even simpler than the one that's basically flush with the wall. So this one you can have it flush with the ground. What you've got to do for this is get a comparator outside any of these. You can have it pointing outside literally any of the sides that you want. Then you have that pointing into a block of your choice. It needs to be one that can hold a signal. Then you have that, then you have another comparator there, and you put it there. You could use, this one needs to be a comparator, but this one could be a repeater. It couldn't just be another redstone, it couldn't just be another dust basically. It would have to be either a repeater or a comparator. I would use a comparator because it's faster. So if I get something like this, and we show you, oh, there we go, and it should automatically, yep, there you go. But like I said, if you have more than one in there, it's just going to keep it on the on state, so it will not work if you're trying to do multiple. So for the track one, I'm not going to bother trying hiding it under there this time because I want to show you the ins and outs of it, and that is best done on show. So the best thing that you're going to want to do first is find where you want your starting position to be. I will have mine here, and we'll get a button. So usually you just have something like this, wouldn't you? Like a rail. And can we change this for that? Yeah, so this would be your standard rail, essentially. So now this is where we start modifying it. We take this one out and put an upside down one, well, one that's facing upwards. If you don't know now, you can face them in every direction that you want to. Wait there, I'm too high for that one. Like that. So you can face them up, down, left and right. So that's what you want to do there, and then to put your powered rail back on this, you can either point at the block and click, or you could shift and click on the actual block itself. And now the only downfall with this is, which is kind of unavoidable, is when you press your button it's going to fire the dispenser, which isn't really a problem, it's just annoying that you're going to hear that click every single time that you go, even though it's not doing anything. So let's clear some space out around this dispenser, because what we want to do is, essentially, we want to know when there's something inside of this. So, say if there's a minecart in here, it's not going to get shot out because it doesn't know that it's in there yet. So, what I suggest is, I would go underneath this pillar, because say if you want, I don't know, it's a lot easier, it's going to be a lot easier in the long run if you go underneath the thing that you have your button on. And that was an idiotic move. So, you'd comparator it up, which is going to say, okay, now I have something inside of me. And we will use the wool. So now this is going to go into this block, and we're simply going to have a repeater go into 4, and then that, and then we're going to use the wool just to represent something that's powered. So now, if I show you this, if we have something in there, get shot out. So we're basically using that design over there. So all we've got to do now is find out how this is going to get refilled, and we're going to do this from this side. Nope. So I've just got rid of the hops that I needed. Like I said before, I would have 3. It doesn't really matter how you have them. You could have them like this. You could have them all put, but eventually, let me just show you something about the hoppers. The thing with hoppers is, if you need to point them into an inventory for them to connect to it. Like if I do that, it's not going to connect to the dispenser, whereas if I point it into it by holding shift, it will. So if you want it to go into an inventory, you need to point it at that inventory whilst holding shift. So what we want to do is we want to point it at that instead of like just putting it on the block, because then it's trying to put stuff into the block instead of into the dispenser. So just for simplicity's sake, we're going to have 3 of these. And in actual fact, I don't think, no, right, so what we're going to do is, we're going to put that there and pretend that this is your wall that you would have. So you've got a 1 wide thing, and then we can get rid of this one, because you only need 3 in the place that it's being picked up. And what you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to have a powered one there, and then pull it down. But this track needs to be powered, and if you do this, if you just power it like that, then this hopper is going to be powered. If I show you, apparently it's not. Okay, I'll show you what I meant in a second. Did that not get shot out? Something happened to that thing. If we take this, no. Okay, yeah, this is what I meant. So if we do this now, that is actually powering this block, which is powering the hopper, which is going to basically make this hopper inactive. It won't pick things up, because if you power a hopper, it no longer picks things up. It just ignores them. Whereas if you unpower them, they pick things up. So what we want to do is we want to avoid this. So you can actually put it up there, or what I prefer to do is, I prefer to just put it one over, and then you've got absolutely no way of it touching this. And it's nice not to have any power going through any of these blocks, because it could interfere with the hoppers and droppers or whatever you're using. So let's put that back there. So now we've got the simple thing. Oh, what you're also going to need is a solid block where this power rail is pointing into. Let's get of that. So when all that's going to do is, if we show you this, when it goes in there, it's going to push it straight back down again. Okay, so I've set up a little bit more here, so pretends that, oh, that's where that lever went. So pretends that this is the end of your track, and like I said, for the place where it's going to be picked up, you absolutely need a minimum of 3, because if you take it out of this one, it's going to be too short and it's not going to pulse, and if you take it out of this end one, it's going to be too close to when it gets put into there. So I would definitely suggest 3, otherwise you're going to come across problems. So all we need to do now is we need to set up this comparator, so when there's something in there it says, hey, go to this track basically. So eventually we need this, and what I would do is I'd have a minimum of 4 ticks of delay on this, because otherwise it's going to go before the item has got into this last hopper and been able to put it into the minecart. So all I would have here is something like that, going like that, and this will now work. So there's a few last minute touches that we need to do, but essentially when we do this, that, oh, did I, no, oh, I know what I've done, my bad. Okay, I'm going to keep this in here just because it's something that you might come across. So point that into there, and then that into there. The reason that that didn't go then was because you need a solid block for this, for the hopper minecart to go into, because it needs to get pushed off of this block, and hoppers aren't a solid block, because if I can, yeah, there you go, you can see that I can go into them, so they're not actually counted as a solid block. So hopefully now, there we go. Now there's a problem here which I'm fairly sure it's not going to work yet. This here is actually too short, so what we need to do is we need to, I'm not sure if this works actually, but let's live testing, I guess you could call it. Pretty sure that that will slow it down, because the thing is with these go as fast as ones with players in, I'm fairly sure. So let's try that. No, the problem is hoppers are not fast enough to pick up the item, so it's actually not, it's not putting it into this. Let's try some more of this. I'm sure at one point this actually worked, where it actually slowed the minecart down. Let's put that in there. No, it doesn't seem like it is, isn't it? Anyway, so to refill itself. I don't know why you'd have a minecart this short, but if you did, this should hopefully now work. Okay, sorry for that little cut then. I once again had a few problems that I had to work out. All it is you seem to have to get the timing exactly right, whereas before, if this one wasn't here, then it's going too slow. Yeah, if there was one like right here, if it was just going straight ahead, then that's too fast. So I've put one here and it seems to work perfectly fine. I didn't have this issue on the server, that's why I didn't mention it before, but hopefully now if I put in this guy, he will automatically go, and there we go. So with that said, hopefully what we should be able to do is we should be able to have a system whereby the wall is completely closed off. So all you're going to have to do, depending on, because I don't know exactly how long your rail's going to be, but depending on how long it is, it seems that a good distance from the last one before it goes up to here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 should hopefully get you there, because that's what I've got here, and that will do it. So we've got this one finished, and maybe say you want this open. You can have all of these open. It doesn't make much of a difference, but just for the sake of testing, we're going to put this here. We're going to go to game mode 0, and we're going to break this minecart. So as you can see, we're on this hopper now, so when we break it, it's automatically gone and it's ready for us over there. There we go. So one last look at it. We'll go back into creative. All it's doing is getting making sure, testing that there's one in there. That won't work because it's too soon. Testing that there's one in there, making it go. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you know of any way of making this better or easier, then let me know, and I'll sure to improve it or whatever. What I would say is I would make sure that you light up all of this stuff, because they cause light updates, and it can, if you have, when this is on and things, it's just going to cause more lag. So make sure that it's all lit up, so when these light up it doesn't cause any sort of light updates. But that's about it, and I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.